Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tub Takes. We are live. This is a weekly video podcast where we talk about all of the latest and greatest happenings in VGC, and I am joined by my three special guests. First and foremost, my lovely co-host, Alex. How are you doing?
Hi there, people. Trying something new this time. I don't think it looks different on their end. Maybe a little bit.
It's slightly different. I hope everyone noticed the cool new preview screen, by the way. I made that myself. Yeah, we're trying.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you probably don't see it though, right?
You know what? Especially for people on YouTube, I will even leave a little bit of that in the first 5 seconds. We can show it off. All right, and then of course we've got our two guests. We've got Justin. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing about as good as you can for an Arkansan in a room with two Austinites and a third person that doesn't know how to pronounce Arkansas correctly.
Aren't you in Alabama right now?
We don't talk about that.
Okay.
It's true. If I'm an Austinite, you are an Alabaman or Alabamian. Which one? Now, last but not least,
Alabaman. I don't know.
Last but not least, we've got actual Texan. We've got Chase. How are you doing?
Doing good. Happy to make my Tub debut.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And so, as per usual, if you cannot stay for the entire thing, this will be up on YouTube tomorrow. Chase, also thank you for the subscription. We didn't say it on stream, so I'll drop that one as well. But yeah, if you, for example, also hate ads like Chase did when I told him to watch the stream, you can avoid ads by subscribing. And then
recommend it right now. Watch has just been so bad. Anytime I'm watching somebody and I get hit with like the 1 out of 8, I do feel like just closing the app. So honestly,
dude, it's like you open it, you're watching like somebody stream their tournament run, and there's like a super crucial turn in game 3, and then it's straight with the 10 ads in a row.
Yeah.
And then when you come back, they're like outside of the battle, like on the overworld, and you have no idea who won or lost.
Yep. That's why I got a sub.
I was about to run an ad after doing that bit, and it looks like you already doing it.
Wait, I didn't do it.
Oh, did you not? It's great after me. I can't run it right now.
I never clicked the button. Honestly, I should probably more. I'm so bad about running ads.
Nah, I only do it when I think it's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, right okay. So that housekeeping out of the way, we do have a couple other things to talk about. Before we talk about Indy regionals, we are finally here. Reg G is about to happen. And yeah,
2 days
the
away.
First tournament of Reg G is this weekend. But before that, we have a couple things to talk about. First, the last tournament of the year just had its signups, and that was, of course, the North American International Championships. Well, last tournament of the year, not including Worlds, I guess. But yeah, NAIC just had signups. And if you signed up or you were on Twitter, you probably heard all about it. But yeah, I guess I think all of us signed up. Does anyone want to tell us about the process a little bit?
No.
I'll tackle it.
What do you mean? There's this convenient graphic right here that explains it. All you got to do is explain what's happening in this graphic. It's very simple.
I'll tackle it. So they are right in the graphic that you don't have to sprint over to Arcanine. That was a step that was something you have to complete afterwards, and you're given, I think, until like May 30th to complete. But the first part was terribly confusing. I actually scrolled all the way back to April 25th when we were registering, and I was going to get like a screenshot of just the Twitter timeline because it was hilarious for everybody that didn't get to like see all that going on. But everyone was like, what is happening? What is going on? The registration went live, and then we also actually were live streaming at the time. I had a funny moment that I'll talk about in a second once we're done with the actual, like, talking about the generic process. But yeah, funnily enough, you had to log out and log back in once the registration went live. And a lot of people didn't understand that right away until word was spreading around. I mean, all of us in the call didn't know. So then, funnily enough, somebody in Tub was just like, yeah, I got in for TCG, and then like I just logged back in, and I was like, wait, did you do that for VGC? And then I just went and tried it, and it was like, wait, this is working. Okay, we all have to just log out, log in, and then Of all things to bring back, I think we hadn't had to do this in a minute, but because now with the Arcanine registrations we've been doing for a while now, you get to the payment page and you're safe. Your spot is reserved for like 15 minutes. So you don't have to have your credit card memorized like I do to like panic type it in as fast as you can. But
if
this time,
your credit card, if you've really got your credit card memorized, you should say it right now. Just prove that you.
Okay. So it's 1 1 1 1. And then the last are 5 5 5 5 5. You guys can figure out the middle though. Anyways, but yes, the you had to put in your credit card info again, and that I thought was terribly troll. Because
it did catch me off guard. I had to like sprint to my wallet.
Some people had them ready. Some people were like, "Oh God!" And then like Justin did, like ran to get their wallets.
There was also an issue with the autofill. Some people were saying, "Oh, the autofill like doesn't work. It like doesn't accept it." But what happened was that it was only filling out the first 4 digits of the numbers, so you had to put in the next number. You had to put in the rest of the numbers manually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my autofill didn't work, and I like didn't realize what was going on at first, and I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah,
but
against all odds, though, I did manage to make it in wave 1.
We all got in. What did everybody here get in wave 1?
I was wave 2.
You were wave 2. Okay, did you miss wave 1?
Wave 1, like I was driving like while it was happening to meet up with Audie somewhere. And my girlfriend Kira, she was like refreshing it, but we didn't know we needed to log out. So she's like, it's just not loading, like holding my phone.
Audie sabotaged you.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, in fact, I was the one who told him to log out and log back in. And so I sent that message at 7:05. I think I got in at 7:04. I'm looking at our log.
I think we refreshed at like 7:06 and it just was closed already.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
So the good news is that wave 2 didn't fill up immediately. So if you were there right on time,
at all?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's not filled up still.
Oh.
So the tournament is still open. If you weren't able to get in yet, or you haven't done it yet, or you just now realized you can go, I think where it is still open. I don't know. Are you checking that right now, Audie?
I can't check if it's still open because I've already registered. But I'm just looking at the numbers. I was curious. 1,075. Obviously, that includes juniors and seniors. But there's 2 steps that are missing. One is that you don't have to go to Arcanine immediately. People still have time to do that. And so this might be underrepresenting the number. And then, like we said, I'm pretty sure the registration is still open. So this cap might be considerably higher because I think the first wave had 650, 700 people sign up.
I do wonder how many people are going to forget to sign up on Arcanine. If you just live under a rock for an entire month.
Yep. I wouldn't took care of that right away. But yeah, talking about actual sign-up stories, it was funny because everyone was like, "Oh, you got to log out, log back in. We're typing in our stuff. We get our credit card in there." I click go, and then my mouse, I have like a fancy mouse with a bunch of buttons. I hit the back button on my mouse. I just fat finger hit the back button.
Oh, no.
And I almost should go back and clip it. It's not like noticeable. It's not like funny enough to be a clip, but everyone in the call is like, "Yeah, I'm in. And you could just see my face, like, just like drain. Like, I'm just like, what is happening? Like, I'm just like scared as hell. Then I don't know. I click around, I refresh enough times, and it looks like it just worked. Like, I got far enough along that it was fine. And I got my emails. I signed up through Arcanine and everything was okay. So I'm just like, all right, it should be fine. But I hit the back and it was just like the page was freaking out and I was freaking out. That was scary.
For me, I couldn't even access the like NAIC registration on Arcanine. Like I signed up and like I got the email that all like the Rain Focus or whatever that website was like, "Oh, you're signed up, you're ready to go. Just go to Arcanine." And I went to Arcanine and just NAIC was not on there at all. And I like was just freaking out and I was like, I cannot access this tournament. Like maybe my emails are messed up or I had like the wrong play Pokemon ID or something like that. And it took like Abai just sending me the link to the Arcanine and I just clicked on it, registered there completely separately like a regular regional. And then I was in. It was so weird. So I don't even think you needed to do the pre-registration if you just had that link.
Something else that was funny is I went to go get the spectator pass for Gina, and I do like that they have the option for spectator passes to be purchased day by day, I believe. So you can just show up for one day if we're only going to be like stopping by for that one day or whatever, or you only wanted to be there for Friday and Sunday or something, or Saturday and Sunday. I think that's cool. But I was like trying to do it, and I was trying to be a little bit quick about it because I was like, I don't know. I mean, everything's kind of scary. Like, what if something fills up or whatever? And then they start asking all these strange questions, like, are you cheering for anybody? And then it was like, yeah. And it's like, what game do they play? And then it's like, you had to pick that. And then it was like, what is your favorite? Do you have a favorite Pokemon? And I think it was just like yes or no, or like they were just like the stupidest like survey type questions. While I'm like not yet at the payment screen for the spectator pass, I'm like, why are you asking me this? Like, send me a survey afterwards. Like, I get it. Like, they're trying to like I don't know, get more information on the people that are like trying to attend their events as a spectator, but like, I don't know, send me a survey afterwards.
They need to do a throwback question to like Ruby and Sapphire where they said, where are you from?
Yes or no.
Only answer yes or no.
I'm trying to remember some of the other questions, but they were so funny. What's your favorite Pokemon show? I think they asked, like, do you watch any Pokemon shows or something like that? And it was like, what? Why is this important right now?
Every week, is that a Pokemon show?
Yeah, exactly. So true. So true. Tub Takes my
favorite.
Go.
Everyone go fill out the form, buy a spectator pass, and tell them that you watch Tub Takes every week. That's really important. You have to do it. But yeah, I guess going back around, we have the Wolf tweet as well. That was just talking about how convoluted the entire process was. I think this I'm hoping was a trial run, and hopefully they will take the feedback into account. It was pretty clear after EUIC that I think that Arcanine just kind of overloaded with the number of people trying to register, that we had to try something different. And so honestly, like, I think everyone kind of expected it not to work especially well on the first go around, but I'm glad that it seems like it wasn't anything too big a deal. We'll see it. Presumably everyone, gets in and gets to play, and we don't have EUIC part 2, but it would have been
much worse if this was used for EUIC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
funny,
yeah,
because then Europeans would be getting screwed over, but
it turns out like the solution to not making everyone mad is just have enough spots for everyone to play, because like this was such a mess, and then at the end is like, okay, everybody got registered anyway, so there wasn't any like long-term talk about how bad it was.
Well, TCG is still going through it.
Did they fail?
Yeah, immediately. They're like at 3,000.
God damn.
Sheesh. Damn. They got a man. I heard unrelated. I heard the Yu-Gi-Oh had the biggest YCS ever in Japan. It was like 8,000 people, and they just had 8 rounds of best of 1, followed by top 256. Single.
You're just playing another 8 rounds, I guess.
You just have to go 16-0.
Wait, that's
what record was the cutoff?
I think you had to go undefeated. It was like 8,000 people, 8 rounds.
Oh, so it was just single elimination the whole way.
It was basically
wait.
Yeah.
Does 8,000 people cut to an even 256?
No.
How would they choose?
Go undefeated.
You go, 8-0 bubble.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, okay. It looks like it looks like all 8-0s make it, some 7-1s make it, some miss. Okay. But close to X1 cut. It's not that bad, honestly.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
that is hilarious. What the hell?
So, anyways, TCG, if you're playing,
I do
TCG,
want to know what kind of venues like can hold 8,000 player tournaments.
I saw photos of it on a Yu-Gi-Oh stream. I don't know where I would find those photos. Probably somewhere on Twitter.
That'd have to be like a mile worth of tables, right?
Mm-hmm. That shit would be long. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say about the NAIC signups. It was chaotic, but at the end of the day, everyone that wants to get in should be able to get in. So hopefully we don't see any more issues going forward with it. Just, if you haven't gone to Arcanine and taken care of that yet, make sure to do that so you don't miss that step. And then also, I mean, you'll have to go there eventually to submit your team. So, I mean, if you stroll into the tournament without submitting your team, you've got a lot bigger issues anyways. Yeah.
What was that? The next topic is Global Challenge 3 doesn't count. That's right. I'm sorry. We took away all the championship points from Global Challenge 3. Yes, you have lost your Worlds invite, Justin. I'm sorry. You can't go to Hawaii anymore.
It's over. I really need this 20 points.
Yeah. So unfortunately, they decided that the Global Challenge 3 was, there's a lot of cheating. Everyone was, using illegal Pokemon. I think Justin had a Miraidon on his team. That's why they took out all these people.
Bro, if I would just quit Pokemon if I could play Reg F with a Miraidon and still only got
20 CP.
How about this? For every 20 base stat total you cut from your team, you get an extra game in the Global Challenge.
Oh my god. Anyways, the real reason was apparently Duck Pond talked about this somewhere, that there was something wrong with the seniors results, and so they had to go and fix that. The tournament is absolutely going to come back. I wouldn't expect anything less than that. So don't anybody worry about not getting your points back. I would plan on having them, and if they do actually fail to return them at some point, we're gonna have a lot bigger issues. People are gonna be pretty upset. So
have to have a talk with that. Play Pokemon.
Yeah, it would be pretty crazy.
Regrettably, the decision has been made to cancel the Global Challenge 3. I forget the exact wording on the Yokohama Open tweet. But
Yep.
It would probably be something like that.
We're canceling it in retrospect after the fact.
So like you said, don't worry about this. I think it's funny to see VGC players panic over this when there's nothing to be afraid. Don't worry about it. It'll come back.
I'm fine. I was making jokes about it from frame one.
Dude, I don't know why ZGR. I don't know how I didn't hear that joke back then. That's a really good bit. It's not the Yokohama open, it's the Yokohama closed. That's fire. Oh, okay.
So I guess with that, those are the things we have to talk about before we start talking about Regulation G. So yeah, let's jump right into it. We had a couple really, really big online tournaments in Regulation G format. So we have our first real idea of what the metagame is going to look like going into Indianapolis this upcoming weekend. And so the two big tours, we had the Victory Road Tour, and then we had one tour on Limitless that also had a pretty big cash prize. And so, first tour, and what do you know? Ice Rider continues to reign supreme. We got all the Ice Rider enthusiasts. I think all of us ran Ice Rider in 2022. This is the Ice Rider Palkia group chat. Just missing Donald's. I guess any one of you who wants to talk about Ice Rider.
Obviously it's a really strong archetype. It's kind of different from Shadow Rider in that it's not the fastest thing on the field most of the time and just can delete stuff, but it's slower. If you get Trick Room up, you win, but you don't usually it's hard to, you kind of have to play a positioning game to get Trick Room up, but it's just really hard to remove. And clicking Glacial Lance on boards is just really solid, especially since I think a lot of the mons that can disrupt Ice Rider significantly don't take much, or they don't like taking a Glacial Lance. So you can really kind of lock down, have a pseudo lock on a board to where I will just click Glacial Lance, and if you try to make any progress, you will take a bunch of damage for it. And I think that interaction is probably what frustrates people the most about it, because obviously not being able to play the game sucks, and Ice Rider kind of does that in a different way from these really faster Pokemon.
Yeah, I think to add to that, it's There's those mind games where, is it going to set up Trick Room or just hit me in the face? Because if you're like, oh, I'm really gonna call them switching or setting up Trick Room and switching my Amoonguss, and then it takes a Glacial Lance, and you're like, ow. And also on top of that, Calyrex is just able to take a attack from every other restricted, pretty much. There are a couple of things that could OHKO it, but it's just with Terra, especially giving it like a more neutral type like water or the grass and fire having very strong utility for denying status. It can be really hard to remove this Pokemon with its bulk. It's like 100, 150, 130. Like those stats are insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think one downside of Ice Rider is that this is just such a super optimized stat ball, but it's just the worst defensive typing ever. But now Terra kind of offsets that, so
yeah,
it's not the drawback is now gone.
Yeah, and now instead of having to run like White Herb like it did in Sword and Shield, it just gets to run Clear Amulet, and now you just get to, Instant's gonna switch in. I click Glacial Lance and do 30% and don't lose any attack.
Yeah.
So it's insane how like it gets Clear Amulet now, it gets Terra now, and it just gets like all these buffs, and like it went from being the second or third best restricted to only like moving up to like second best restricted, or even still maybe even third, depending on how the metagame goes with Calyrex, Shadow, and Terapagos both existing.
Can't believe
if you click at a 120 base power spread move, that's 100% accurate.
Yeah, you'd think with everything it got, it would be just like clearly number one restricted, but then the other restricteds that exist are insane.
Thank God they nerfed this mon. I mean, can you imagine if they didn't nerf Glacial Lance, how good this Pokemon would be?
Oh, come on, let it have this one.
No.
Okay.
Shadowrunner won mats. It won worlds.
Okay.
On.
So the one thing that the Glacial Lance nerf affected was the roll on Amoonguss.
It's true.
Now, Amoonguss can live Glacial Lance, when before it, I don't think it ever could, or maybe it could like.
Max had a 25% chance to live if it was 130 BP.
And I think it changes, like, if it was still 130, it would just, like, kill bulky Fluttermane, and I think Fluttermane now can live Glacial Lance if it has the right investment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
keep it 30 and up the price to $100.
Dude, imagine that they
it gives you some sort of like interactions in the mirror, because like you always have Amoonguss with your Ice Rider. Mm-hmm. So like if you're playing an Ice Rider mirror, your Amoonguss can live. If your Amoonguss can live a Glacial Lance, you can just kind of like lead Ice Rider and Amoonguss and Spore it, but like you'd have to like double tap their Amoonguss to like make sure you don't get spored. Mm-hmm. Things like that.
I think while you're mentioning that, Burns, I'm probably gonna make some kind of literally some kind of like meme about it later. Eventually, I want to make it, but like I think Ice Rider has like some of the least toxic mirrors when you look at like restricted matchups. Like looking at the other, like what people are saying, like our number 2, number 3, Shadow Rider and Turtle. Those guys are like slapping each other for super effective a lot of the time, and that can get like pretty messy. The Koraidon mirrors, I imagine, are also a little bit annoying. They technically can hit each other for super effective, though. It doesn't always run a Dragon move, but like they might have like a Fluttermane. They both have Fluttermanes.
So stupid.
Like
the Koraidon mirror just becomes a Fluttermane mirror.
Yeah, like, right. And so a lot of these mirrors sound a lot more annoying than Cali Ice mirrors. Cali Ice mirrors, I feel like I've played a lot of Cali Ice and I played a lot of the mirrors, and they just feel like, the better player wins. So I usually like that aspect. It doesn't feel anything's like too chaotic or toxic.
Except when the better player gets a game lost and misses 3 hypnos in a row.
Oh my God. Well, whatever.
I've lost to imprisoned Calyrex Ice at a tournament. So I don't know.
They were the better player.
Yeah, so I mean, Calyrex Ice, obviously, still very, very good. I think should come to no surprise. I will say one of the cooler things that we've seen, and we'll talk about the support Pokemon a little more, but Pelipper it's been kind of everywhere. We've seen it on a couple different teams across a couple different types of archetypes, I guess, although maybe not in VR. I don't remember exactly where we saw these teams, but yeah. So You know, I was gonna do the bit. We kept talking. Calyrex Ice Man took the nerf Glacial Lance now to take a big sip of tea and find out what Pokemon got second place. That's right. It is Calyrex Shadow with Mian Xiao. I think that I want to say Davide used Calyrex Mian Xiao at the start of Series 8 as well and did well in grassroots tournaments. I think this might be something like a comfort pick, but yeah, this is the other combo that we talked a little bit about last week. Obviously, not just a closed team sheet tech. A lot of really cool ways to fill it out, but Calyrex Mian Xiao Rillaboom has just been everywhere on ladder, so I'm not surprised to see it do well here.
Put me to sleep, dude. This horse, I couldn't care less. I'm happy to see my Ice Boy up top. This horse is too broken. It got second in both of the major tournaments over this past weekend. However, I think it had a relatively rough showing across maybe it was VR. I think it sees like an okay amount of uses in I'd say in both tournaments, honestly. Like a lot of people are saying like, oh, it didn't win the tournaments, it's on Fraud Watch. It's like, no, it's still the best one. Just people are, teching aggressively against it. The Shadow Rider teams are going to tech back, and ultimately the thing that makes me the most angry about this Pokemon is that it's like got that special attack stat, that ability, and that speed stat or whatever, but it's not even like Glass. It is a 180-100 Pokemon. Yeah. I think it's bulkier than Ogerpon, which is like, I don't know, from the past two formats, it was like a Pokemon that was like notably hard to kill in one hit a lot of the time. Like it was like always able to just take one hit. And so like, yeah, people run Sash on the Shadow Rider, and I think it's a good item, but you can get away with other items like Citrus, like Spell Tag, like other things, because the horse just always hangs on. And it's like, stats. It's so annoying. Yeah, it has stats.
I do have. I don't know if we're doing like a full like kind of metagame overview thoughts or whatever, but I have some things to say on the like quote unquote CSR and Fraud Watch when we.
Yeah, why not? We're talking about it.
Okay, so
I'll go ahead.
I mean, this is just I'm talking about like restricted interactions in general. I spent a lot of time yesterday, like kind of looking out, like, okay, what I wanted to make like matchup spreads for each restricted and be like, okay, which restricted is like favor, like what's CSR favored into, what's Cali Ice favored into, et cetera, et cetera. And the interesting thing is, we see that like in Victory Road, the two most represented in Top Cut were Terapagos and Ice Rider. And I was filling out the like matchup stuff, and I was like, "Oh, I think Ice Rider and Terapagos actually are slightly favored into the CSR teams." And I guess we kind of see that reflected in there. But when I was doing CSRs, I was like, "Oh, it's like slightly unfavored into Cali Ice and Terapagos, but it's just I would say it's favored against literally every other restricted." Across the board. So really CSR is it's the most broken thing on paper, and I think its matchup spread reflects that because it just kind of gatekeeps a ton of restricteds out of the meta, because this is like I want to build around Lugia. Well, how do you beat CSR?
That's true.
Like,
I do want to build around Lugia. How'd you know? No, that's a good way to put it. Is that like why not pick the restricted that does well against what you think is going to be like the best restricted? And it is kind of a icky, gross like aspect of single restricted is that you don't get to like build well-rounded teams. Like you can try with those non-restricted Pokemon to do their best to cover up for things, but at the end of the day, you have one Pokemon that's hitting on a much stronger, just base stats. That's going to carry a lot more weight, and when it can't carry that weight, the rest of the team has to make up a lot of it. And so, that's what I think is the main thing that like is annoying with single restricted is that when your restricted runs into another restricted that it's not great at, picking up that slack is not easy.
And that's the like thing with like Terapagos and Cali Ice. So you're just like, well, why aren't Terapagos and Cali Ice just the better restricteds or the more used restricteds? And that's because they have bad matchups, unlike CSR. And sometimes you run into those bad matchups.
And and if those were the two, if they had 50-60% usage, you can just tech your team out. You can specifically pick restrictors that are good into those. Like that is the sort of roulette element. And at least I'm very thankful. I'm not going to Indy. It seems like such a hard format to build for. But it is it's one of those situations where now you have to choose. Do you want to try to have a more even matchup spread where you are maybe using lower powered Pokemon to cover some of your weaker matchups? You don't want your non-restricteds to be your damage dealers, but maybe if you're a CSR player and you can't beat Terapagos, you need a fighting coverage move, right? So you're using a weaker attacker as your secondary attacker. Or alternatively, do you just say, hey, Zamazenta is at 3.5% usage day one, right? And if I can't beat Zamazenta and Zacian, that's just okay. I will take those L's and I will, beat everything else. And so, and if you do that, then all of a sudden you have a very high variance tournament experience that can also lead to potentially even winning the tournament, right? So I don't know. I would not want to be in that situation. I'm hoping that it starts to centralize a little bit more and even out a little bit more so that it's easier to build well-rounded teams. But right now, with the number of different comps that are available, it is so hard to do that.
The one nice thing is that there's just general non-restricted cores that are pretty strong into the three most common restricteds. Like something like Incineroar for Farigiraf is generally good. And it pairs well with restricteds and is also generally good into both Calyrex forms and into Terapagos. So you can kind of start with non-restricteds when building. But then you're like, okay, I have these two Mons or this Urshifu plus Incineroar. And it's like, okay, what restricted do I add? And then you just pick one of those three most of the times. So it is very limiting.
People have made regulation G flowchart, team building flowchart, those memes. But the number of teams I've seen from, I'm gonna pick on Raga for sure here, but everyone does it. It's all right, let's pick my restricted, let's pick its best friend, and instant month.
I mean, look at the overall usage on this page. If you scroll down,
it's 70% usage day one, and it went up. It was 83% day two, which is absolutely nuts.
It's pretty nuts how the number it's at, but I just love that Instant isn't the first Pokemon you put on the team. It's not the second. It's always Instant Mon 3 because you have an idea. Your idea is what restricted do I want to use? And then it's, how do I want to use that restricted with whatever, cool partner I've come up with it. Oh, I want to use Mienshao with my Shadow Rider. Or I want to use, Pelipper with my Cali Ice. And then it's Instant Mon 3 every time.
It is kind of cool how Instant just can run it's whatever coverage move it needs to be positive into pretty much every restricted other than Koraidon. I guess Will-O-Wisp forces it to Terra, but you're also forced to Terra versus it. So
yep.
I mean, like we've said for years, it's just roll compression the Pokemon, and the higher the power level gets, the more Instant's going to be used because you fit everything into one Pokemon, and you support your big boss, and you don't really need damage from your Instant. You just be the support guy. It's a silly mon, but
on the topic of Instant, somebody had posted some kind of picture of Instant from the anime on Twitter, and Gina saw it on my timeline and was just like, "Oh, that's a funny picture of Instant or something like that." And I was like, I actually haven't looked at Instant in years. He is just a shape in my head. I actually don't see the Pokemon anymore. I was thinking about this. I don't know if anybody is getting the sentiment I'm trying to get across, but I don't actually look at it anymore. I just I don't even know what it's a cat. It's a wrestler cat. Yes, but when I look at Instant, I just see this Fire Dark, stat ball that has all the perfect moves in my I don't know. I just don't even see a Pokemon anymore.
It looks different based on whether or not Fake Out is live.
Oh, that's true.
I mean,
but it's just a shape in my head. Is what I'm trying to say.
It's become abstract.
That's what. Yes, it's abstract. Absolutely.
You don't know Incineroar. You only know the concept of Incineroar.
Yes, I know it well, a little too well.
If you want to see it in a different light, I just Googled Incineroar, and 2 of the first 10 links are from Fur Affinity. So, you know, you don't have to keep having your same old bland Incin picture. But yeah, Incin, I've actually had to put Incin in way too many thumbnails to not have to have like played around how it looks a little too much.
Shout out to the Smash trailer for like Smash Ultimate that revealed a bunch of characters at once, and like there was some leak going around called the Grinch leak that was saying like all these characters are coming, and like the first 2 characters were like the leak got right, and then Incineroar comes out and just debunks the whole thing, and it was so funny because people were memeing on it. It was like Incineroar killed the Grinch leak.
Yep. I remember back then. That was funny. Let's talk about some more of these actual results, though. We kind of talked about usage stats, but I'm looking at like particular teams and stuff. I think Davide's team is a good take on Shadow Rider. We haven't talked about Oi's team yet, which Oi's team does have something very funny going for it. I do love
it's got the 2-move Terapagos.
The 2-move
deciding that, you know, this is the only Pokemon in the game that gets a move that, you know, nothing resists. It is perfect coverage. And why would you ever click anything that's not Terra Starstorm? Unless you're asleep. That's the only situation where I can think of it, where you click something else. So yeah, you know, why not? It's a cool approach. I think we've seen a little more Specs Terapagos after everyone was kind of on the calm mindset for a long time. People realized that just you can force pins really effectively with any of your powerful attackers with your Rillaboom, Urshifu, Chiyu, Fire, Water, Grass offensive core. If at any point your opponent is forced to Terra, then all of a sudden that Pokemon might as well not exist to Terapagos. It's going down to Terapagos, right? And so I mean, I don't know how. I don't think that the metagame can keep supporting Fire, Water, Grass, pick your favorite restricted, pick your favorite speed control, and you can't just keep doing that. But
it disgusts me. I hate it.
You can't. There's too people got to figure out ways to break it.
I'm so put off by the fact that it has both Incin and Chiyu on the team. I'm sorry. It's the team looks cool, but I would only ever want one of those guys.
You only bring one at any given time. You just have 2 fire types.
So we wanted to like put this team to the test. So we tried it out on ladder. Audie, do you have the trainer school team the page open?
Yeah.
Jumping ahead, go to David Niss's team. No, not David Niss, the one below it. DLers in 14th place.
Yeah.
So we queued into this Lunala team when we were practicing with this Specs Terapagos. And they got up Trick Room, and they have their Ursaluda. They Terra Ghost it, and our Terapagos is full walled. They click Wide Guard every turn with their double ghosts on board, and we can either go for Terra normal, like a regular normal type attack, Starstorm, which they're both immune to, or we can Terra, get our spread move, and hit into Wide Guard. And it was so silly. It was like, okay, I get it. The mod has only one button that it wants to click.
We won that game.
We need some tech moves on this. Maybe we
won that game, by the way.
We did, I think, win the set.
We won that game. We won that game too.
Oh yeah. That was so funny though. It was such a silly situation where I was just like no longer convinced of the set. I ran the set on stream before we even saw it like do well at this tournament. I was just like, oh, it'd be funny if you're running the spec set. I only want to click one button, but I think there are some situations where you might need a coverage move.
All right, hear me out. You can't pick a 2-turn move with Sleep Talk, so you just run Raw Meteor Beam as your one coverage move.
Solar Beam too. You could run Solar Beam for some matchups.
Tio posted a team, a rental today with Specs Terapagos, and he had Earth Power and Hyper Beam as the last 2. And I talked to him about it a little bit. Hyper Beam, when you Stellar Terra, is like the two times stab because it keeps the normal stab.
Oh yeah.
And it just Okos Kali Ice.
Oh yes,
which is really
surprising. That's sick.
Yeah, and then Earth Power specifically to like do damage to Zamazenta without Terra, because it can click Wide Guard if you Terra. So I think I believe in the Sleep Talk, Hyper Beam, Earth Power last 3, but Sleep Talk, like solo Sleep Talk, is very funny.
I've been saying I like Hyper Beam on it. I did not know. I didn't even think about it from that angle, though. I just thought, like, if I'm running specs, maybe sometimes I just want a nuke button, but I didn't realize how much of a nuke button it is.
Yeah, it might need the Beads of Ruin to kill, or just kill on its own. I just remember Tio saying
bet that kills on its own. Switches. Honestly, that sounds juiced.
It does remind me of like Sleep Talk Bravebird Talonflame from like 2014.
Yeah, that was hype. That was awesome. But okay. Fourth place though.
I'm excited to talk about the other. I said I'm excited to talk about the other team that got top 4 at VR.
Yeah. I've been using this on stream.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You can go for it. Then. Go ahead. Tell us all about it.
I just like, I don't know. I think it was built independently because it's not like a crazy.
Hello? Where'd everyone go?
No, it died.
Hello? Hello? Can you?
Okay, we hear you now.
Cool. Okay. We're back, I think.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. Are we back, y'all? Hopefully
we are back. We should be good to go.
Cool. So what I was saying is that I was trying a very similar team on stream, and yeah, the thing is that like Miraidon does very well with Trick Room. We haven't had a good electric terrain Pokemon all generation. I'm sorry to say, Pincurchin, you're not selling me on what you bring to the team. Miraidon, though, that Pokemon is pretty good when you need a Pokemon that sets electric terrain. And so the best button on the set is the last one, Volt Switch. You just click that as often as possible to pivot around to your other Pokemon, like your Incineroar, your Giraffe. They both come in very well after the Miraidons, chunked them with a strong Specs Volt Switch. And notably, if Rillaboom comes in, you can Volt Switch off of it. You turn out with your Incineroar back to your guy, and you set up that terrain, and you have electric terrain. You've gained the terrain advantage. I think that's the key way to play it.
Yeah. I've also been playing with this team a lot in the past 3 or 4 days.
Have you stolen Tio's version of it?
No, I've been using this version from VR, but slightly different because I just ripped it off of Ladder. I think the thing that is super nice about it is that Blood Moon is effectively another restricted Pokemon, and one that is immune to Astral Barrage. So you just have 4 Mons that are either resisting or immune to Astral Barrage on this team, plus a Miraidon. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is I think it was Candy Bong, the Korean player, that used 5 out of these 6 with Ogerpon over Miraidon to win a Victory Road a couple months ago in Reg F. Or
yeah, it also it won a regional in was it Dortmund was the one that it won.
Yeah, and
this type of double bear comp, Trick Room, mixed room, I guess, type of thing. Yeah, it was it was a very proven team in Reg F, and so that's why I was just well, let's try and figure out what spot to replace to get Miraidon in here. I replaced Flutter, but they replaced Ogerpon. Obviously, Ogerpon has not been feeling the strongest in this format. I made it a cornerstone Ogerpon to make up for that.
I do think the Flutter main is really, really nice to have in Sun matchups because you can just I've been running it with max speed Flutter and max speed Miraidon, and you just lead it into opposing Speed Booster Specs Flutters in Sun, and you just click Icy Wind and Electro Drift.
Yep.
Because most of them are timid but not max speed, and you can just nuke a slot right off the bat.
Well, if you're timid Miraidon, you don't even have to play the speed tie. It's actually a rounding thing.
Mm-hmm. It's speed tie with your Flutter if they're max speed, I guess.
But... Yeah. They'll speed tie your Flutter if they're max speed. That's fair. But if you win that speed tie, it's not a speed tie with Miraidon.
Yeah.
There's only one way to make sure it's not a speed tie. That's run Iron Bundle with your Miraidon.
Yeah.
True.
This format reminds me a little bit of Reg B, where it's either you're playing Trick Room or you're just playing faster than your opponent's fast team.
That sounds like VGC. I don't know what you're talking about.
But it's just you effectively have this really strong nuke Pokemon that also OHKOs itself in the mirror, instead of Flutter Mane, now it's just Cali Shadow. And it's just a higher BST version of Reg B, and is what it's felt like so far for me.
VGC has always been just Trick Room or Tailwind, right? There's 2 main things I can think of.
You used to have Thunderwave.
I can think. I guess there's Thunderwave. That kind of brings me back to what I was gonna say. Is like in the Dynamax era, you could play screens. That was like a way to just circumvent speed controls to just say I'm infinitely bulky. And then the other way to play VGC is 17. 17. That was just like you just brought Pokemon to the battle. That was lit. They still had Trick Room and Tailwind in that format, but I'm gonna shut up about 17 before I get carried away.
The big I think the big turning point was dynamic speed. Right now, the Tailwind is instant and not a turn later. It's suddenly so much better.
Yeah.
Same with
I'm
Icy Wind,
totally chill with
Thunderwave.
Unburn and Driftblim setting Tailwind. Prankster Torn though, that guy pisses me off.
And the other thing is they can't stall Tailwind turns as well when you can click Prankster Rain Dance plus Surging Strikes, and you can't protect through that.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love getting used to my Tailwind turns because you can't protect. I love breaking all
That
the
is great, yeah.
laws of VGC. So cool.
That's some cool synergy we discovered. Do you think people have figured that one out before?
One more thing I want to mention about this team before we move on from it is, I think Chase might have said this already, but Ursaluna is a Pokemon that does feel like a second restricted. It is like able to keep up with the power of the restricted Pokemon, and every restricted has its pros and cons, its weaknesses and stuff, and this Pokemon is no exception. But if you get off of Terra Normal Blood Moon, that is doing as much as like, an Electro Drift or an Astral Barrage. Like it is just killing things. And so having another Pokemon that you can focus on when Miraidon's maybe struggling is really good.
And it also now has an answer to Amoonguss, which it never had before. Like you look at like Animus's team from the Nino Pokebros World Tour from like 6 months ago, where he had Sleep Talk or Uproar on the Farigiraf to deal with it. And then you used to have like a Follow Me Grass type to like be able to deal with the Amoonguss and Trick Room. Now you can just set Electric Terrain.
It's so cool that this is what people are realizing the Miraidon can do. And then
I do want to point out Tio also posted a Miraidon team that is a little different, different Pokemon, but a lot of the same ideas. This is the one that I've played a little more with, and it really was the same idea that you mentioned. Where hey, you got Volt Switch, you got U-turn, you got in this case 3 U-turns on the team. So you always have Electric Trade Up. You never lose that thing. Right. And so, yeah, the pivoting moves are Volt Switch is in fact Miraidon's best move. That is
Yeah.
It is really strong.
By the way, if you're using that team, change the Miraidon EVs to be 12 HP and 4 defense, because then you live 2 Glacial Lances with Friend Guard.
That's cool.
What if you Terra? You live 1 if you don't Terra.
What if I just get the roll?
You can do that.
Then I don't even have to use my EVs any differently. I'll just get lucky.
True. It's got a point.
Yeah. Well, and then
moving on, looking at the rest of the team,
to-
it looks like there was 2 Kyogres in top 8, a Cali Ice team, and a Zamazenta team. I think this is Zamazenta's best finish for the weekend. Yeah, I didn't do the hottest in. I think I have the other tournament. Let me go look. How did it do in this tournament? It also got a top 8 in the other tournament, the Trainer School. All right. Yes, I hear you. Stream looks like it's back on my end.
Stream is back.
You know what? At least this is shorter than what it normally cuts out. I even restarted my computer this time. I don't know why. But
okay.
All right. Back.
It has Incin, Amoonguss, Raging Bolt. There's a Porygon 2 here and an Ursh, sure. But basically, it's just Zamazenta and a bunch of like strong Pokemon that we've seen do well in Regulation F. 2 Dark types to help hit those, knock off an Incineroar. It's not the strongest option, but Urshifu's Wicked Blow, that's probably one of the strongest options you can have when you want to hit a Ghost type super effectively. So it looks like a pretty well-rounded team. Honestly, pretty boring. And I do just think that when you're running Zamazenta, in my opinion, you have to pick wide guard or iron defense so you could run protect on the guy. I don't think you can do both. It just feels like it does it does everything it wants to be doing, but worse when it doesn't have protect. That's just my take, though.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. I think I've talked to the audio about this a little bit. Like, running no protect on your setup restricted seems really stupid to me. Like, if you're going to be setting up to do damage, you want to be able to protect and pivot. So like the two from the trainer school tournament that like have Pelipper clicking wide guard and the Zamazenta clicking protect interest me a lot more. But yeah, I just don't see any way that you can run iron defense and not protect and have like successful game plans, like in a very adaptive best of 3 where they can just play around. Okay, now I can just switch in something that can do damage and click fake out, and then like 2 KO you with Urshifu or something.
Yeah.
My thoughts on wide guard on Zamazenta is basically like best case scenario. Your Zamazenta clicks wide guard, and my restricted clicks a spread move, and then both of our restricteds didn't move that turn, right? Like that's the best case scenario, is that you go even on turn advantage with your restricteds, which doesn't seem like a very good trade when I could also just click a different button, right? Like at any point I could click a different button. No, or I could just click Astral Barrage, knowing that worst case, it means your Zam isn't moving either. So I really just like wide guard on your restricted specifically. I think that's not like Lunala probably has to run it. Doesn't have to, but it likes it. Zam, I don't think you have space for it. And like Chase said, a lot of people are running it with Pelipper that has wide guard as well, and I like that a lot more.
I'll let Audi have his takes here. I've got things that don't. Yeah, ESM will have to join this call. He'll fight his way in here if we keep talking about Zamazenta. But yeah, I do think that regardless of whether you want wide guard or not on it, it's a choice. You can't run iron defense and wide guard. You need to protect. I think just protect on your restricted is just good, unless there are some small exceptions like Specs and Scarf. Assault Vest is like there's like one good restricted with Assault Vest. That's like sometimes Miraidon. I think Specs is just better. Anyways, those guys are all running anti-priority stuff like Giraffe or not Giraffe or Indeed, Giraffe or Serena. And so if you're going to go that route, you have to be able to beat fake out. And the Zamazenta teams aren't running the anti-priority options as often, like Giraffe and Serena. They could, and maybe that lets you use that set a bit more often. But I think you should just pick.
And then, so last but not least, I'm gonna go back to this. We can talk a little bit more about Sam when we look at the other teams that Chase and I like better personally, at least. And that is the Kyogre teams, because Kyogre, again, we kind of expected it to be pretty good. I don't know if we ever expected Kyogre to be the most common restricted in top 8. I guess tied with what did I miss? Calc, yeah. But yeah, it is two in top 8. Both Pengi and Astora or Anthony. I'm gonna pull up Anthony's team because they went 8-1 in Swiss. Neon one fan. I guess. Who's any Kyogre fanboys in here?
No, this one's been boring for time eternal.
This version of the team is less cool than Pengi's version. We're gonna be talking about Pengi more today too, because we're talking about Indy regionals. But yeah, this Serena, that is that is the Pokemon that I ran in Regaf for a while, and is finding a little bit of a home on Kyogre teams, as it did back in Series 10 and in maybe some other formats too. So I don't know. I think it's cool to see Kyogre come back. I think it's cool that, especially while everyone is running their double fake out fire, water, grass cores, the Serena Kyogre combo that Pengi used is one of the ones that I think is pretty cool at dealing with that core where you deny fake out, you have Tornadus and Serena and Chien-Pao in this case to threaten the grass types that threaten Kyogre, and you block all the priority. I think this concept is a pretty strong concept as well. This one's boring. I agree. This is a good team. Good job.
You're that lab your Pengi matchup for Indy.
Yeah, Pengi defending this year. I think he's going. I'm not actually sure, but I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
He definitely has tweeted about going. I know.
Okay.
I can tell you that.
He's got to defend it.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, other than that, the Kyogre teams are doing relatively normal Kyogre stuff. Just they have Giraffe and Serena to keep the Kyogre safe from the things that we were worrying about going into the format, like Rillaboom and Thunderclap from Raging Bolt.
Nerd now says, "Hold up, that's a Hurricane Torn." I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to click Rain Dance to get Rain Up, right? Like it might as well be Hurricane, right? You really want to KO the grass type.
Hitting the Pelipper's and Wide Guard Pokemon. You could run Hydro Pump on your Kyogre, but another way to get around Wide Guards is to have Torn be the mod that gives them a spread move.
Also, Hurricane Oko's Water Ogrepon and Bleakwind does not.
That's honestly that's a decent reasoning for me, but I also do think just almost all the Ogrepons are just bad, man. They feel so bad now. It's sad.
Well,
they had their time.
Kyogre picks back up in usage. If you really respect Kyogre, then maybe you do need to consider the Water Pond, right? This team does not want to see a Water Pond ever. Unless it hurricanes it.
Name one more restricted Water Pond is good into.
Groudon. They have to Terra.
It's pretty good into Groudon.
They have to Terra?
Yeah, because you can hit it with a Power Whip, Helping Hand, Chin Pow. It dies.
Oh, Chen Pao with Helping Hand. Let's go. Yeah. Oh no, it's their Chen Pao, of course.
Yes, precisely.
And we've Shadow Tag trapped it in with our Gothitelle, Helping Handing. Yeah, okay. I see it now.
We eject pack into Stonjourner because they parting shotted before we went for the Power Whip.
And then they brought in their Pow, and we brought in our... Wait, no, wouldn't the eject pack deny the parting shot? I think that's how the mechanic works.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyways, are there any other teams outside of the top 8 that we should be highlighting? I'm looking at them, and there's a lot of typical builds, Hoj running a standard turtle build. The team below it from Ryan Haig is just a boring Cali Ice team, a boring CSR team, a boring turtle team. I'm not seeing... Okay, the Miraidon team's wild. I'll give you that. Suicune, let's go.
Are you calling Cali Ice boring?
When it looks like that, yeah.
Teams are boring.
Absolutely.
The Zacian Umbreon team is pretty cool. Look at that, I'm using Pokebin. I think
right. I know. I was like, I don't know about Pokebin, bro.
No. Look at this. This looks so much better on stream than. Okay, this one actually looks fine.
They're all
one of the ones that has missing Pokemon, right? I hate seeing these boxes when there's supposed to be a Raging Bolt there. Pokepaste. Put a Raging Bolt in your system. It's not that hard. So yeah, I actually really prefer to look at these. But yeah, I thought the Umbreon is a pretty cool tech. I know I lost to an Umbreon when testing Calric Shadow Rider. I was just like, oh my god, I hate using this Pokemon. People are just hard targeting it down. So yeah, this Mon also saw a lot of play last generation when we had restricted format. In 2019, it won World. It got second at Worlds in 2019, right? So this guy's always good in restricted formats. So it's cool to see him back.
Me and ESM were hyping up both of these inner focus guys, Suicune and Umbreon. I don't know how meta dominant they'll be, but I'm glad to see some appearances from them here and there.
Mm-hmm.
The Miraidon team has Covert Cloak Miraidon, which I think is funny. They were like, all right, I don't want to put the anti-fake out counterplay onto my team. I'll just put the anti-fake out item on my guy.
Well, yeah, that way they can leave their Suicune and Miraidon and click Helping Hand Electro Drift into everything, right?
That is true. You can't actually fake out either of these Pokemon.
I did play against this on ladder using the other Miraidon team, and they just O-code my AV Ensign with Helping Hand Electro Drift, and I was just like, oh, I didn't know that killed.
I love that. That is 80% of the experience playing against Miraidon. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I did find out. I found out Electro Drift is a contact move earlier today because I died to Rocky Helmet. I was like, oh, I don't know how I didn't notice this.
Just because it's from the future doesn't mean you're not hitting them with your car.
Why?
That is what's happening, bro. It's a contact move because you hit them with your car.
I'm just why am I've been playing this format for 3 weeks and I'm still learning new mechanics about all these new legendaries. Why are they all so goddamn confusing.
It's funny.
You know, I didn't even question why it was a contact move. I just was like, oh, this thing got added in Pokemon Unite, and it's like zooms past you and it clicks Electro Drift. That makes sense. And then
That makes sense.
I was like, yeah, sure, contact move. Let's go.
I forgot this guy's in Unite.
Right? I've become a fan of the purple bike, so maybe that's how Unite will get me back. Okay. Looking at the rest of the teams,
the last thing I want to talk about with VR is I want to look at some of the stats that we got, which are always cool. We have the stats for Limitless Tours too. In fact, we have more stats for Limitless Tours. But one of the cool things I wanted to point out is the restricteds, day 1 usage and day 2 usage, and how what percentage of them moved on from day 1 to day 2. We don't actually have that percentage, but we have a rough approximation where, for example, if 22% of the field is using CSR, you'd expect about 22% to be to make cut. And so when that number goes down, it usually means it underperformed, and when that number goes up, it usually overperformed. And so here we see CSR underperformed. Koraidon, there was only one in day 2, despite a lot of people using it. And Lunala underperformed as well. Whereas the big overperformers were Ice Rider and Terapagos and Rhydon in this tournament. And there's also some cool stuff for the support Pokemon too that really popped off. But yeah, any other thoughts about the overall usages?
Shout out to Groudon, straight business. 4.2 to 4, keeping it real. But yeah, I like we get to see that this is kind of like the top 10 like forming. For a while I was like, it's a top 9. Like I feel like some of these guys are significantly worse, but my opinion's been jumping around a lot as I've gotten to see people try different builds. There's a lot of different ways to try out certain of these certain restricteds, and so these are a top 10. I know, Justin, you were working on that like matchup thing that you're eventually going to tweet out that included these 10, right?
Yeah. It might end up being a top 9 because the Zacian matchup spread didn't look great.
It is last.
But it top cut, and like it can definitely catch people off guard. So
I actually like the Zacian team that we'll see in the Trainer School Open. That team looked cool. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, we're really seeing the appearance of a top 10 here. And then they also included the usage of just all Pokemon right below. And again, as Adi was mentioning, like, overperforming, underperforming. It's crazy to see a Pokemon like Incineroar go up in usage when it's already at 70, but that is kind of how it is. Like, good players use good Pokemon.
But the Pokemon that really stood out to me, we talked about Pelipper. That one overperformed a little bit. But the two big ones that we saw were Goldengo really, really did well this tournament. There were 3 in top cut despite not having a ton of people using it. And then Heartflame also did really, really well this tournament. It's a Pokemon that's really good into a lot of the Amoonguss teams. It's the only Ogerpon form that, it looks like it has any. I guess there's a lot of Water Pond, but that one did not perform. I think this is probably the best Ogerpon form if you're going to use Ogerpon, because it not only can redirect Amoonguss, but it can threaten Amoonguss. It's good into Rillaboom. It's good. It's Utera. It's pretty good into Ice Rider. It's pretty good into. I'm not going to say it's good into Zamazenta because ESM is in chat, but you can crit the Zamazenta at the very least. So I'm sure Zamazenta players are a little scared of it at the very least. But yeah, those are the 2 Pokemon that really stood out to me as Pokemon that overperformed, non-restricted Pokemon that overperformed. But any Pokemon stand out to you guys?
I think for restrictors that underperformed for this tournament, you could look at Giraffe and Ogerpon Water. I was shitting on Ogerpon Water a bit earlier. It managed to get 1 finish here, but a lot more people are using it than they should, I think. I think people are like, wow, this one was so good in Reg F. I think it's pretty bad in Reg G. Giraffe, I think, is just a symptom of it being a popular pick among like players that love Trick Room and just hate dealing with the fake out guys. Like, it is a good Pokemon for disrupting those guys, but some people use it as a crutch to expect it to like completely carry those games, but you still have to play Pokemon against them.
I think it's notable that Indeedee did not cut at all.
True. Wow, that's a 7.7 to 0. Wow.
I kind of want to look at. I didn't compile any of these stats, but it's really interesting to see the Giraffe in both VR and like Trainer School. It cut with like 6 or 7 different restricteds. And I know Incineroar is probably first as the Pokemon that cut with the most restricted with like Rillaboom and like Amoonguss or Shifu. I wonder what's next after that. Like if
Probably
it is
Raging
just
Bolt or Flutter Mane or Tornadus, the restrictors, the guys that are above it.
Yeah, it's just to me it's interesting that like I feel like Giraffe just fits on like any team. And it is better when it's on more of a balanced team that it's doing a job of more than just clicking Trick Room and Helping Hand. And like Michael DeBesti seems like a good example of that. But yeah, I think Giraffe is an interesting pick right now.
I think you probably see it with just about every restricted in the top 10 except Shadow Rider. Shadow Rider doesn't need it as much. I mean, it doesn't love like a big grassy glide or a sucker punch coming its way. But it is a naturally immune to fake out restricted Pokemon. And so that's probably the main guy that you won't see Giraffe with, but it does pair well with just about everything else. And it is like one of the best support Pokemon we've gotten in this generation. So that makes sense to me. Yeah, I did my own like quick little analysis of the metagame tab in the Trainer School Open. We could actually jump over there while we're just talking metagame for both of the tournaments, and talk about some of the biggest winners and losers from that one.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats from Lab Mouse, which are pretty similar. But
yeah, okay, that's a good way to look at it too. Because you, Adi mentioned Golden Go, and Golden Go also did notably well in the Trainer School tournament. It had like 17 appearances in this one and had a 55 win rate, which I think is pretty noteworthy. It's like it had high enough usage because I could jump all the way to the top and be like, wow, Sableye went 5-1 before the Sableye user just dropped from the tournament. I don't know why they dropped. They were doing all right. But
yeah, so back to the team for Indy.
Yeah, they were like, okay,
have your Sableye matchup ready. It's secretly Wolf.
Yep. And Baxcalibur, like there's two of those. Reshram's actually the best restricted because it has a 66.67 win rate. If you sort by the win rate tab, like no, I get like you have to look at ones that are like over 10 usage. And then you start to see Cornerstone at a 65% win rate. It's like, is this actually the best Ogerpon? I already said fire, but I don't know. I might be here for rock.
I'm kind of
Dondozo's doing well. I don't want to highlight that one at all. Everyone look away, move on. Unless it's not paired with Tatsugiri, then it's okay.
I think Rock Ogerpon is really cool because it just gives you a second Focus Sash, and that's very cool to have in a restricted format where you just have
loving it.
Extra base stats effectively.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we can start talking about teams because you mentioned Dozo without Tatsugiri and someone else and Justin mentioned Zacian falling off the tier list.
That was me.
So
no. I said I liked the Zacian team from this tournament because that also does have Dozo.
I was gonna I'll talk about it, please. Let's talk about the Zacian team.
Tell us about Tinglu Dozo, Alex.
Right, I know they're back, bro. They're back. They have Fissure on the Dozo too, which I think is funny. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, is Heavy Slam needed? I'm like, no, it's a Zacian team. We have Behemoth Blade to hit the things with steel type moves. Let's just run Fissure. Like that is actually going to be your best move to click into Cali Ice. Like they cannot remove your Dondozo quickly enough. They're clicking Glacial Lance, and it's just bouncing off your big fat body, and so you're just clicking Fissure once, twice, 3 times. Are you gonna let me keep doing this? Like, do something about it. I love it. It's so funny.
It is funny that this Dondozo is unaware and not oblivious, which it's just going to be clicking Yawn and Fissure most of the time, so it doesn't need the unaware. I guess for Cali Shadow, it's like kind of useful, but like not being taunted seems more useful when clicking Yawn.
I like that aspect, and the unaware is also helpful into Zamazenta, notably.
That's true.
You do get to ignore the Dauntless Shield boost and any iron defenses that come afterwards. So I don't know if this team is particularly strong or weak into Zamazenta. At a glance, I'd say weak.
They're weak.
So that is something that's nice about it, about unaware at least.
Someone in chat, Chase, said that they taunted Wao Yang both matches and 2 of them. So that might be a point towards Oblivious if that is a difficult matchup. I would think
is that Michael DeBesti?
Is that
no? I just looked at their schedule. They lost to 2 people, Michael DeBesti and Chase. I think maybe they're Chase,
yeah.
but they could be
Yeah,
Michael DeRusty. Hard to say.
Probably the person who is Chase Meshel in Twitch chat is also probably the same person in Limitless, but it's hard to say. You never know.
Could be Michael DeRusty on it all. He was playing a lot of tournaments this weekend. I heard he played in both of these things, so maybe he was playing twice.
I mean, for what it's worth, both their losses were to Koraidon, which is pretty funny. And so I guess since we're talking about Koraidon now, how about that segue? We can talk about the winner. Michael DeRusty, who of course is still using the same Koraidon team after Koraidon had one of the worst showings in VR out of all the restricteds. Let's pull that back up. Yeah, 21 people brought it, only one person cut. But Michael DeRusty is still just chugging along using this team and winning tournaments. We talked about it a little bit last week. Anything to add?
I was gonna say, the thing is that Michael's using this, but it's not the same every time. There are some changes here. You can kind of see the process as it goes. And so they're the Fluttermane is now choice specs. I think the Incineroar was not Assault Vest beforehand. There's been some experimentations with the sets here, and Michael is definitely making a case for Koraidon being one of the top 5 restricteds, I would say. It is looking very impressive when he brings in. If you think you can get even close enough to playing at Michael's level, that he is quite different. That is one thing is users beware. You might not be able to play it like him because he's just very good at the game. Regardless, though, it's good enough that he can win tournaments with it. I'm sure other people could find success with it too.
And especially with the Double Dragon with Walking Wake, I think is really good into the Firewater Grass Core. You have your own Firewater Grass Core, but I think this team is very capable of kind of breaking down the mirror. I do notice that he's no longer on Sword Stance on Koraidon instead of running 3 attacks, which is I don't know. That was the cool part of the team earlier, but going to be interesting to see how he continues to develop it moving forward. I know he's grinding Limitless tours. I think he said he's playing one right now. So maybe it's a new version coming out.
Guys, I want you to know that is the trick to success. Michael just played Limitless tours nonstop, got second at Worlds. I would be scared going to my next tournament if I knew Michael was playing at it, because he is on the grind right now. He is on the hunt.
He also did he's been building a ton. I don't know if you remember he posted so many teams.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do love seeing what he has been cooking. Anyways, though, let's look at some of the other teams from this tournament. Joe got runner-up with Shadow Rider, and it's just so blah. Yeah. I'm sorry, Joe. I've got nothing to say about it, but it is Firewater Grass, Double Grass, people running that, and then we have Bolt because Bolt's good, and then the Shadow Rider.
I think if you want a cool Firewater Grass Kali Shadow team, the Mirai's team is really cool because it has Terra Dark, Foul Play, Amoonguss next to Chen Pao, which Oko's both Calyrex forms.
Damn. Had a good moment against this person on stream. I played against them on Showdown, and I was like, this Amoonguss set is insane. What is happening?
Yeah.
I had my Blood Moon chilling at 17%, Trick Room's up, and I'm like, probably going to die to Foul Play here. They Terra Dark Foul Play me, and I live. They actually went for the extra oomph, and I lived, and I was like, huh? I ended up beating them, but I thought that was just hilarious. Blood Moon was taking this Foul Play, but the whole time I was just transfixed by this Amoonguss set. What are they cooking? They're on another level.
I had almost this exact same set at Nats in 2022. Although I had Quick Claw on my Amoonguss, but that's a different story.
Yes. No, we ran some dumb Amoonguss items.
Yeah. Sub was so sick, though, because you got to, stall on the last turn, it's Tailwinder, Trick Room, whatnot. They're going to double protect. You just click Sub, and you can just... I don't get it on this team as much because you don't have, a Kali Ice to set Trick Room next to. But, it was really cool in 22, so I assume it's probably strong in, this restricted format as well. I just don't understand it as much on this specific team.
I think a really cool aspect of it that can break people's game flow charts. You could probably do the same thing with Covert Cloak Amoongus, but getting up that sub means that, that classic, like, oh, I'm going to protect my Terapagos, switch in my safety goggles Incineroar, fake you out so that I buy myself a turn. Parting shot out to my Rillaboom, fake you out. Like, the Amoongus has the sub now, and it's like, all right, the cycle is broken. You have to address this in a different way now. And what that means is that you can either go for a risky Spore right away because they're like, that sub scares me, or you can get that sub up if you're able to call things out. Adds a lot more depth to the Amoongus game plans there that you can develop.
Although it does completely lose on the 50-50 of, is this Amoongus going to click Spore or Protect, which is probably the thing that makes Amoongus best in certain formats.
Especially in Open Team Sheet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember playing Open Team Sheet for the first time at, I guess when we all did at San Diego.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh, Amoongus is so much easier to deal with when I know it doesn't have Protect. I just double that slot and something dies.
Yes.
Yep.
I still feel that way a year and a half later or whatever. Like,
yeah, I know every game I've played on Best of 3 ladder, I'm just like, oh, this Amoongus doesn't have Protect. I win. This Amoongus has Protect. It's going to be a lot more difficult.
You actually have to think. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally agree with that sentiment. Any other teams in the top 8 here that we want to highlight? I think a lot of them look boring or typical.
Pretty standard.
Yeah. I'm scrolling down to see anything. There is a Gastrodon on Moltres Galar from Jack L in 11th. The team is... I like how Nails was talking about this. He was saying that he thinks Zamazenta might be the new Garbage Exodia restricted, where you just put the strangest Pokemon around it. A lot of people are putting it on the balanced teams, but maybe it's better to just lean into this mod being weird as hell and surrounding it by a bunch of weirdos.
Let's go Dumpster Exodia.
Yeah. Nobody remembers X-Ray like Justin and I.
Shout out to Aaron Traylor I think Aaron Traylor coined the term Dumpster Exodia.
I believe it.
I think honestly,
Exodia mean anything else, or is it a Yu-Gi-Oh term?
It's a Yu-Gi-Oh term.
It's Yu-Gi-Oh
term.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just you're trying to get your 5 pieces of garbage, and then you win.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'm scrolling through the rest of the teams that are in the top cut and looking at all the Limitless tournaments that we've seen in the past couple of weeks happening. I've seen a lot of this already. There's a lot of teams that look almost exactly like these. And so we're probably going to spend most of our time focusing on the ones that are at the very top, as well as the ones that, actually do things stand out. But basically anything that's doing well, these tournaments are a great example of, the metagame and what you might expect to see. Like if you're like, oh, I want to look up a typical Cali Ice build, just click on Cali Ice in this Limitless tournament in this trainer school, and you can look down the list and be like, okay, most of them are running Incineroar, but move past that. Look at the other Pokemon, and start to focus on some of the other things that Cali Ice builds are focusing on. Amoongus is a very common one on there. People are running, Pelipper a lot, Raging Bolt some of the time. These are again just me moving down the line in usage, I swear. But anyways,
is there a way to do this in Lab Mouse? I'm not actually sure if there's a good way to do that in Lab Mouse. But I will say. I was looking at scroll through the metagame tab. I think that's a little more interesting. One thing I love about Limitless tours in general, I mentioned this last week when we had the 2 contested tours at the same time. I think the tours where you have to pay entry are generally higher quality. The players are more confident in their team to put money on the line. So even if they're smaller, they are generally a better representation. That being said, when you have this many games, there's a lot of data to be gained from it, like which versions of teams do well and which versions of teams do poorly, sort of start to distinguish the meta. We've talked a lot about a lot of these different variants of teams that have done well, but I wanted to look at Shadow Rider because I think it was like 30% of cut had the same 3 Pokemon, which are Incineroar, Urshifu, Shadow Rider. 30% of cut had those 3 Pokemon, Water Urshifu specifically. So that is, in this tournament at least, that was just everywhere. Even though I guess it was pretty represented. It was 1 in top, 1 in second, 1 in top 4, 1 in top 8. Like, yeah, I don't know. That's the core to beat right now, I guess.
How many of these teams could have been running Series 10? I see
Series 10.
I see the one with the Clefairy and the Tornadoes.
Yep. The top. There's at least one in top 8. That I was thinking about it. I was like, I bet you could probably build an entire team in Sword and Shield and just transfer it over. But yeah, maybe only the one. There's a lot of
there's a lot of like
Chen
Chius
Pao,
and
Top Cut,
Chen Paos and Raging Bolts.
Yeah. Anything else? I'm especially looking at the metagame tab. Anything that stands out to anyone? Oh, you guys know what the highest winner restricted was? That had more than 5 uses.
Reshiram!
Yeah, I was gonna say other than Reshiram.
I mean, why are we ignoring that Reshiram is the best restricted? Are you just trying to gloss over this?
Good point.
It's trying to hide its back.
Lunala did really well.
Reshiram did well last time we had Indy.
I'm sorry. I just think that it has a auto loss to Calc Shadow Rider based on the data, so I really can't support using Reshiram. But it clearly farms everything else.
See, that's what I was saying. Shadow Rider gatekeeps all the other trash restrictions out of the
It kind of does though. Like this guy is actually not that bad in some of the restricteds, but yeah, it should Shadow Rider.
How did Comfy do? Comfy didn't do that bad. Whoever said Comfy was cheeks in the chat. Hey, it went 49 and 50 across games. Like that's all right.
Wait, so what was the big winner restricted?
Was it Lunala?
Oh, it was
Terapagos.
Terapagos and then Lunala, I believe.
Right. Terapagos, I think there's one more ahead of Lunala. But yeah, it was those guys were Lunala overachieved, for sure. It was a go.
Don't tell me I'm wrong. I'm right. I'm pretty sure it's Lunala.
Are you right? Yeah, you are right. Yeah. Lunala's right under there. Yeah, super win rate. And then Koraidon with the two in top 8 as well.
Yeah, so and then I remember looking at the biggest losers myself when I was going through this, and it was like Eternatus did very poorly.
Of course.
Dawn Wings, another one that's like, whatever. And then Groudon. Groudon was like the best restricted to have a rough tournament, in my opinion. It had like a 44% win rate, which is only 5 below even, but 44.76 for it this tournament. But
but 0 in top cut, which is kind of crazy.
It's so funny. If you take out Michael's score with Koraidon, its win rate drops like 6%.
Of course. I mean, if you pick any of the top examples that happen, right?
Not Groudon.
A lot. Anything that does well in the tournament is like probably worth considering an outlier.
Yeah.
It's when the tournaments are this small. If you took it to like infinity, if there was like 10,000 people playing, then yeah, it's just a drop in the bucket. But it's funny.
We should talk about the Lunala team because there were a lot of people running.
There's a group that all ran it together, and I think some of them were just dropping early. I swear. Let me go look again.
There was someone who dropped at 5-1, and then there was the one that we looked at earlier that made it to top cut and lost in top 16. But I don't know.
But yeah, it's cool.
I think this team's strong.
Lunala has a good matchup into Ice Rider. Wide Guard, a very tricky tool for it. Moongeist and Meteor Beam hit it for a lot of damage, despite like Terra even. And it also hits a lot of... it can also be very uncomfortable for a lot of Ice Rider's favorite partners. And if you surround it with good Pokemon for dealing with Shadow Rider, you might be able to put together a competent team. This team is got enough things that beat common restricted and unrestricted Pokemon. I know that's a very generic thing to say, but it's just like... I think that if you look at a Moongus Incineroar, Urshifu, and Raging Bolt, like they just are willing to play those balance type mirrors, and then they picked Lunala and Ursaluna as their restricted and their restricted's best friend.
Yeah, the tools into a variety of matchups is code words for they're running Instant Shroom, Urshifu, Raging Bolt.
Right?
It is cool to see that like regular Ursaluna just gets to click Facade and you can follow it up with a Moongeist Beam and pretty much kill any singular slot. Nothing can tear a Ghost out of that. or nothing can do the opposite of tearing out of the ghost weakness and just dies to Ursaluna, which is pretty cool. I know yesterday I was playing some in the evening, and there was a couple. I played somebody who was like top 10 or like top 12 on best of 3 ladder with this exact team, except it was Terra Fire or Shifu, and it was not Focus Sash. I think it was Mystic Water. I don't exactly know what that does, but other than that, the team was the exact same.
I figured out my switch in, by the way, to your Ursaluna and Lunala combo. Good luck beating my Garganackle.
I thought you were gonna go with the Hisuian Zoroark.
Hisuian Zoroark is actually a way better answer. I do love that one. But on the topic of Garg, though, Adi, it is actually one of the worst performing non-restricted Pokemon. Because it had like, let me go look at the numbers. I swear.
Yeah, no, it had 5 people bring it. 3 of them went winless. One of them brought Ho-Oh. So, but yeah, I'm gonna chalk this one up to the teams that were running Garganackle were not very good.
No, I think nobody's good as using Garg yet. Just wait. All right, just give it a time.
I think Garganackle's only a good mon if you're allowed to click Salt Cure and Wide Guard at the same time every turn.
That sounds good. They should do that.
Like that's the only way that it becomes a good mon.
Salt Guard.
Yeah, let's give it Salt Guard.
Wide Salt.
Wide Salt.
Wide Cure.
See, this is why we need Calyrex to be able to ride more than just the horses, right? Just give it just give it Astral Salt or something.
Yeah, we were supposed to make that the mechanic. The Calyrex was supposed to be beta testing for the mechanic this gen.
That's what I said. I was saying this. I thought they were going to do more ability combo things, as one was a tech demo.
Gen 10 for sure.
Well, yeah. Trust. Have you not seen Terapagos? It's got 8 different abilities.
That one is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I know. I
chain effect filler.
Other mons that I think also notably, when we were talking about like the metagame tab, other big whiffs were Grimmsnarl and Ninetales. Screens are not it, apparently. And yeah, I think we talked about most of the ones that did well, but Ursaluna was a bit of a symptom of people using that Lunala team. Dondozo on, Tots and not Tots teams did well.
Sinistro went like 1-13 in this tournament or something like that when I was looking earlier. I thought that was a good mon in this format, and I saw that and I was like, dang.
That's tough. I've had some fun with it. So I'm not ready to count it out, but power creep is crazy.
It'd be nice to be able to use a grass type that's not Rillaboom or Amoonguss.
Yeah.
And
like regular Calyrex.
Limitless is distinguishing between Zamazenta and Zamazenta Crowns, but you can just, if it like not in the right way, you can just have the
I did notice that.
So it's not even getting accurate stats for that. And I wonder if the same thing is true for Zation.
Surely.
Come on. No one ever put the other Zation form, apparently. There's only one Zation.
That's funny.
Wow.
They fixed Zation because of 2022 and not Zamazenta. They just forgot that mod was.
Wait, Walking Wake went 37-48, including Michael's 13-1.
Okay, that's pretty notable. That's a good outlier story.
that mon is really bad unless it's Michael DeBesti using it.
I had Walking Wake a little bit further down the line in my biggest losers non-restricted list that I was doing like for personal data. I did not even think about the fact that Michael had it and was literally singularly carrying it. This mon is actually so bad. Wow. Let's go, Wake.
They went 24-47, which is nearly 33% win rate without Michael.
Yeah.
But Michael's using it, and it's doing all right for him. So, I don't know. Maybe it's good.
I used that team, and I did not understand how it works at all.
I tried it out on stream as well, or maybe an earlier variant, and was having a hard time. So it's definitely a user beware type team.
It was kind of like how Michael's world team was. because everyone saw it because he was playing in all the Limitless stores.
Mhm.
And then people tried it out and they just weren't as good with it.
They just didn't get it.
Yeah.
We haven't even previewed Indy yet. Let's preview Indy because we're running a little long
We should
here.
do that. I forgot about that. I forgot we had something to do after Reg G. All I want to do is talk about Reg G. Yeah,
This is Reg G.
Regionals. All right, fuck these online tours. I'm sorry, you did well, but these don't count for anything except for the money that you win from them. Indianapolis regionals. Now this counts for something more than the money that you make from it. It really counts for the friends that you make along the way, which never really happens at a Limitless tour. But yeah. So, anyways, Indianapolis regionals this weekend, and yeah. So we had. Do you have the history pulled up? Yeah, we got the history. We had Indy once before as a regional. That was in 2022. That was won by Pengy, as I mentioned earlier. Alex got top 4. Down here, we saw our good friend Austin Acosta, another Austin local, also got top 4. Tragic. Alex would have won this tournament 60% of the time, 60% chance to win this tournament. Freest absolute finals.
It was a pretty rough one.
Oh, I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you talk about missing hypnosis.
I'll complain about it because Alex knocked me out of the tournament. We played each other in X1, and he beat me in the 6-1 mirror. And then I got 18th and bubbled out of that one. So very sad. I think that this was the tournament I feel most confident about my team, like ever. I think. I think I wish we would have won I think we were in the best position to win the tournament, but that doesn't always mean that you win the tournament.
I wish we had won.
Notably, it was a restricted format. And so we are going back to Indy in a restricted format. And we saw Pengy in the Victory Road tournament using Kyogre, probably trying to recreate a bit of that magic. The team has a lot of other elements that are different. You know, he's not running Tinkaton to emulate the Zacian on the team. Unfortunate. But anyways, Pengy likely going.
I just scrolled through this for the first time in a long time. I did not realize that every single team had a Zacian or a Calyrex on it, except for like one of them.
That was Joe. That was the only one that didn't.
It's super Joe. Yeah, damn. This format was crazy. Every single X2, or better. Yeah.
One way to put it. Yeah, I love Dynamax. I love Sword and Shield.
I mean, remember our top 5 or whatever? It was just like Zacian, Groudon, Zacian, Kyogre, CSR, Groudon, the one Palkia, Caliice. I guess Evel. No, Lunadon. Lunadon became a thing after, like later on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, so Pengy, we think is going. Jeremy, I think is still in China, right? So I don't think he's going.
I'm not going.
You no longer a Midwesterner. Austin is not going. He's a Lorcana main now. I don't think Carson's going, right?
No.
He won.
I kind of doubt Paul Ruiz is going.
Leonard's
going to be there.
He's a Midwesterner. But so I think it might only be 2 out of the top 8 from last year or from 2 years ago who will be attending this tournament. But this was top 16 cut. It was a big tournament. It was the biggest tournament of the year. So
we had top 16 cuts.
Going down a little bit further though, like Colin, Joe, I think those guys are going to be there. So,
we just saw Joe do well at Limitless Tours, so he could be on that list as well. Kevin Swastik presumably will be on as well. So a lot of names here, but then 2 other Indy tournaments, Indiana tournaments rather. Fort Wayne has been historically the place where the regional has been in Indiana. So we had Fort Wayne 2023. That was won by Justin Tang. That was his second regional win. He beat Joe again in finals. We see some of the other names in top 8. Luca Tragut is presumably going. I don't know about Fiona. I don't know about Atmosphere. Nathan. Actually, he's from Indy, right? So he must be going. Right? Nails is going. And Nails is maybe even using the Tinglu Dozo team one more time. The first ever solo Dozo. Back when everyone thought it was the crazy, the Waterfield Dozo. Yeah. Crazy to see how much that picked up popularity after Nick used it at this regional.
And Paul Chua?
Paul Chua? I have no idea.
I'm just curious if anybody knew. I don't know.
I thought I saw him say on Twitter he was going. Like,
Right.
he was actually tweeting about VGC, which makes me think he's going to an event soon, but I don't remember.
I feel like I agree. And then Jody, I do know Jody's going.
Okay.
And that's probably about it for the history. There's, obviously Indy hosted nationals and internationals back in the day. I didn't feel like talking about those tournaments because they brought out a very different crowd, and it wouldn't be a great picture as to the people that are likely to attend this tournament when we're talking about smart money.
Yeah. So probably fewer international players than 2017 NAIC. But actually, funnily enough, more players than 2017 NAIC. So yeah, crazy how fast that's grown. But I also, Alex, I can't believe you didn't mention it. You actually won a regional in Indiana as well, right?
Yeah, I don't have to flex that. Like I did, but it was like in 2017 in Fort Wayne. I didn't go that far back. I'm also not attending, so I also don't think Abe is attending. He got second there. Jake got top cut at that one. He's casting. I don't know if he's casting this one, but he's a caster now. Jeremy was there. Let's see. I'm just thinking of other names. But anyways, yeah.
Another regional where it probably has 5 times as many people playing at this one. But yeah,
that's true.
We have the cap as 864 players. It looks like 816 masters signed up, which is just barely enough for 6 rounds of day 2 Swiss if everyone shows up, which was unlikely to happen. So I think we're just going to barely miss this, and we're probably going to have 5 rounds and then a very, very strict top cut with mostly X2s. So good luck to everyone who's going. Did you said that? Do we have the stream details already? I
don't know. I said Jake is a caster now. I don't know.
They haven't announced it.
Okay. But yeah, look out for. But yeah, I guess I don't know. Do you want to jump into smart money? I don't have anything else to say about Indiana.
Let's do it. Chase, you're newest to the channel. Let's get you going first.
So what I'm just picking one person that I think.
Yeah. Okay. So for smart money, you just pick one name that you think is going to win the tournament. That's all it is, really. Hopefully, that they're attending. Sometimes people pick names that they're not certain of, but
I know.
You're up first.
I'm gonna have a caveat of if Jay, Hupu Metapod can attend. I know he was tweeting about trying to get a last minute invite. He wanted somebody to if they drop to or if they're not going to drop, so he can join in. I will say him. Just because of the way he's been playing, and he's no longer, I don't think, using Mammo Swine. So that's a 50% buff. And if he doesn't end up going, I would probably go with Siddharth just because I have been helping him prep a little bit, and I think he's playing out of his mind right now.
All right, Burns, what are you thinking?
I'm picking Luca Tregut. And I mean, I know what restricted he's running. I've seen him on ladder. I don't really know anything beyond that, but I don't know. I got a feeling he keeps doing well. He keeps getting top 4 finals.
That guy's pretty good at the game right now. Adi, you're hosting again, so you get to be last pick. Sorry.
Don't worry, my pick's already been taken. So
yeah. All right. Yeah, Luca's definitely a good pick. I'll throw my shot at Nails, Nick Navarre. He's done well in Indiana. It's pretty close to home, honestly, as close as regionals get to home for him. And so, yeah, he's done well at these ones before. It's his region, and I feel like he also is really good at identifying things early format as well as restricted formats. I think Nails is just going to be exploiting things that people aren't ready for, and so I'm hoping he has a deep run.
All right, Audie, are you just going to pick a friend like everyone else?
No. I was
an
going to
enemy,
pick Luca, but Yeah. I'm picking Alex under.
I'm booking my flight.
So my pick, I'm picking the boring pick. This is my safe pick. This is always my backup pick whenever somebody gets taken, because he's going to the tournament and he's going to get at least top 8 most likely. It's Joe. Yeah, he got second at the last one.
He's playing some real boring stuff. So
he's pretty much a lock for top 8 at this point. Which is this is the amount of Pokemon he plays. I think that especially early format, you are so you can be so far ahead of the field just by having as many reps as possible. And so I think that he's going to do especially well just because of the amount that he's been playing.
Wolf Glick will not be attending, by the way, for the chat.
I think Wolf said he did his last regional for the season. He said he did his last regional for the season before Orlando.
And then he was I feel like going to Orlando, and then he won.
Then he was like, actually, maybe I should defend my title. Did it. Anyways, Adi, if you want me as your smart money, it does look like you just have to Venmo me. Only 710 is currently what I'm seeing for flights. 710 seems pretty reasonable. We'll see I'll give you all my prize money. How is that? You can have everything I get.
Hold up. Dude,
I would do that.
How shitty an itinerary can I? How shitty an itinerary can I get you to still go to this?
Right.
Regional?
There's also way too much prize money for me to make that deal. I can't do 100%.
Can I fly you out to NAIC, bro?
There's a bit. The game I forgot does pay out a bit more now, so I can't just be throwing away 6K if I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling all right now.
Actually, I think I helped you pay for gas to get to Portland. So
that's true. That's true.
All right. Tell you what, I'm gonna get you a $283 round trip out of Chicago. You just got to get from Midway to Indianapolis and back, and find a spot somehow.
Sounds good.
I'm booking you through Adam's Vacations, not just Frontier.
Oh God.
I'll send you my flight details later. You can just buy the tickets for me. I'll give you my social and
that
stuff.
Sounds good. Okay, cool. Yeah, I need your known traveler number and your passport number and all that stuff.
Of course.
All right.
Well, there's no way
let's get. I got pre-check.
I mean, I have pre-check. I don't think Alex has pre-check.
I just went and opened up the document where we wrote the smart monies, and Adi definitely typed Calc there instead of the browser. And so it says Joe UX9 Calc. Go ahead and get rid of that.
Let's jump into. Wait, what? Hyperlink block. Okay. Let's jump into the Calcus, right? So this is a little game that we like to play where one person will name a damage calc, and the other people will have to guess a number and try to get in the range of damage that move will do. And so I guess, does anyone have a calc ready ahead of time?
I'll go ahead and start us off with a pretty simple one. I've talked plenty about it, and so let's see if you guys can get it. It is Choice Specs Miraidon, Modest Max Special Attack, going for Volt Switch into the Calc default Incineroar. It's Terra Electric. We've Terra Electric our Miraidon. We didn't Terra Electric our Incineroar. But Terra Electric.
Did we
Volt
not do
Switch.
this one last week? I feel like
did
we
I do this one already?
Week.
Shoot.
I
don't think I did. You know what? Maybe I did. All right, I'll pick a new one. I'll pick a not Miraidon Calc. Somebody else got one?
I've got one.
All right, Adi, start us off.
All right. We were talking about Hyper Beam on Terrapagos earlier, so I'm curious. True. I don't actually know this calc.
I was picking a calc.
But I did too late now. I mean, hey, if you I'll just go. So Specs, Terrastellar, Terrapagos, 250 Special Attack, Hyper Beam, coming out into let's say what's gonna be real annoying. Into how about a 252 HP Force Bedef Bronzong?
Okay, so we're doing Bronzong taking the Terra Hyper Beam.
Taking the Terra, all the multipliers Hyper Beam. Actually, fuck it. Let's throw a Chi-Yu in there too. We got Beads of Rune in the Hyper Beam too.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Beads of Ruin specs
oh,
Hyper Beam after Terra into a Bronzong that's 252-4. No nature.
Yep. No nature.
All right. So yeah, Chase, you just verbally lock in. You just say like I'm ready, and then Adi will call on people.
Okay. I'm ready.
Once you have a number that you would be within the range. Okay. I guess I'm ready. I'm ready, yeah.
All right. Justin, you good?
Yeah.
All right. Chase, we'll start with you.
I'll go with 94%.
94. Alex, what you got?
89? Zong, are we doing
89. It? And Justin, how you know your Zong calcs?
78%.
Ooh.
78%. He does not believe in Terapagos.
He really believes in Bronzong.
252 for Beads of Ruin Hyper Beam is a roll to KO. It is 86.7 to 102.2.
Okay, we're in there.
Oh wait, sorry. No, hold up. This is a sassy nature. That's the wrong nature.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's actually 94 to 111.
Let's go.
So Alex got left out because of the nature.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm technically out too. It's 94.2.
Did you say 94?
94.2.
I said 94. I'm out.
That's a loss. Let's go. We're all out.
Oh.
That's right. Not even resisting this attack will get you there if there's a Chi on the field.
Yeah. To be fair, it gets 2 times stab instead of 1.5 because of Stellar. So
that's pretty baller.
It's like a neutral hit.
It is, yeah.
It's like
yeah.
It's like a max strike.
Okay. Does anybody else have a calc ready to go?
Yeah, I got a calc ready.
All right, Burns, what's up?
All right, so this is going to be max attack Koraidon.
Adamant?
No, Jolly.
Okay.
Clear Amulet, so no modifiers from that. The sun is up. It's using it's Terrafire Flame Charge into Cali Ice.
That is a funky one. Cali Ice is just base typing then?
Yeah, base
and
typing.
You said we're Terrafire Flame Charge?
Yeah. I don't know why we're using Flame Charge into a Cali Ice team, but
we gotta go fast. We gotta outspeed the Lucky next to the Cali Ice.
We gotta get out of the sandwich.
You gotta get out of the sandwich. The bolt beam speed sandwich. Okay. I got my number.
I got mine.
I got a number.
All right, we'll start with Chase.
67%.
All right, now Alex.
I'm below it at 60.
Audie.
I was gonna say 60. I'll go in the middle. I'll go 63.
Dude,
All
ES7
right,
had my number too. 60. Let's go.
Let's do the calcs then.
Right. So Koraidon, Clear Amulet, Jolly, Flame Charge, Terrafire into Calyrex Ice Rider. The one set that Ice Rider needs. Flame Charge is doing, I'm seeing 73 to 86.9.
Damn.
Yeah, so here's where you all messed up is you forgot about the Terra.
I knew about it. Okay, shut up, man. I
knew about it.
You would have gotten it right. You would have gotten it right if it didn't have that boost. If you just turned Koraidon to a fire type.
Yeah.
Damn. I definitely forgot about that.
No, I knew the trick here. I just thought Cali Ice was beefier. I thought this was not as strong as it is. But dang, look at Koraidon go.
Yeah, no, I was looking at it as how much do I think Flare Blitz is going to do? What is half that? And I thought it was going to do about 120 to 130. So that's a little more. Koraidon's pretty strong.
Were you in there, Audie, or no? Did anybody get in there?
No, I was not. No.
We were all too low.
Yeah. We're all in the 60s.
So far, we've all whiffed.
That's true. Okay, we got to lock in for this next one. I'm still blanking. Chase, do you have a calc ready?
I do have a calc.
Nice. All right, what do you got?
Choice Scarf, Terra Water, Urshifu, Adamant, In the Rain, Surging Strikes versus 4 HP Miraidon.
I like this one. Let's bring it back to Miraidon, but defensively. This is cool. We Terra Watered, you said?
Yeah, Terra
all Water in the Rain.
Max Attack, Adamant, In the Rain, Terra Water. Choice.
All right, I got my number.
I also have my number.
I got my number.
Alex.
All right, so Chase, pick someone to start.
You got it, Alex.
All right, I'll go for 63.
Justin
I'll do 80.
and Audie.
72.
Oh, we have a decent spread here where I think we've covered enough ground. Someone's going to be right, but definitely not all of us.
This is gonna be really funny.
Urshifu, Scarf, Adamant. Is it killing? Terra, Water, Surging
No,
Strikes,
no.
In the Rain. What else did I miss?
If it kills, I was
everything?
going to be pissed. Like, there's no way.
Terra Water in the Rain.
This is my
Did I miss a multiplier?
restricted Raging Bolt.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I got it. 64
You were
to 76.
both outside the like you sandwiched it on the outside.
I got it.
Damn.
Yeah.
I said 72.
But Justin and Alex were like 1.5-2% outside on both ends.
Yeah, I said 63. Justin, what did you say?
I said 80, so I was like a little bit out.
Dang. But Adi, what did you have?
I had 72. I was right in there.
All right, well, I guess Adi's the best Ursh player. What can I say? Or the best ride-on
Let
player.
me tell you, I've Surging Strikes, a lot of Dragon types in my time.
Okay. I actually have a bit of a random one that I just thought of now. What's the Calc default Ensign? Adi, can you pull that up?
Wait, you ride on Volt Switch and it Ensign.
They're gonna have to put me in a home. This guy is not okay. Okay, so it's that. No, we're doing a physically offensive attack. Don't worry. Let's do it into this this Calc default one. Rockstar, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Top Nation. Anyways, yeah, I want to know how much does Sword of Ruin Dragon Ascent from Adamant Ray do? Max attack Adamant Ray. We're clear amulet, so we don't get any other boost, but we are immune to that Intimidate. How much does Sword of Ruin Dragon Ascent doing to this Calc default Incineroar?
Sorry, can you say it again?
Yeah, it's just Dragon Ascent with Sword of Ruin.
Oh.
Adamant. The Dragon Ascent is
I
coming
got a
from
number.
Rayquaza. I should have specified not
Okay, thank you.
not Smeargle.
I have a number.
Dude, all of my Dragon Descent into Instant Calcs are based on Mega Ray from 2019.
I thought you were going to say based
That's
on
my
Smeargle. Yeah, it's true.
I have a
Mega Ray.
number.
No, it's not Mega Ray. It's basically
I
Mega
got
Ray.
a number.
Mega Ray was always -1, bro.
It's
That's
not
true.
Terra Flying, right? It's just
No, we didn't commit any Terra. Plus, I think most
Okay.
are
Wait,
Terra
Is
normal.
the Rayquaza at -1?
no. it's
No,
clear.
we're clear
It's
amulet.
Clam.
Okay.
Wait, is there a Chenpao on the field?
There is a
What's-
Shenpao
what's
on the
the
field.
Incineroar?
Yes.
It's actually, Adi, there's 2 Shenpaos on the field.
Okay, good to know.
All
Good
right.
to know.
I got a number.
There's 2 Shenpaos on the field. One's holding an ability shield.
I have a number.
I got my number.
All right, Adi, you good?
Yes.
All right, we'll start with not Trace. He's gone first twice. Let's go with Burns.
98.
Wow. No belief. I think it's KOs. I think this does 104.
I think I might actually know this range from calculating a bunch of Rayquaza at the beginning of the format.
All right.
I'm gonna go with 91, and I think all 3 of us are in the range.
Dragon Descent with Chenpao. It is doing. Oh, this is Adamant. We said Adamant, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 102 to 120.
Wow.
Is it really?
Because y'all are using the Calc default Intin that has 0 defense investment.
this is
This
Mega
will
Ray.
not-
Bro. You have Mega
Oh, this
Ray.
is Mega Ray. Oh, wait, what?
Is it not like 88 to 104?
Why is it Calc default to Mega Ray? This is the Alex. Nerd of now. Get in here.
He's asking the question himself.
Is it 88 to
Like
104?
this.
This is what I remember the calc being.
Like this.
It's doing 66 to 78.
No,
is
no,
what
no,
I have.
no,
here.
no,
Sort of
Sort of
rude.
Just sort of rude. Okay, 88 to 104. You are right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, we all got in there.
So everyone was in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said exactly 104. So yeah.
Okay, so low chance to Oko. Calc is also pretty fake because this is a very not FizzDef Incineroar. So
Mm-hmm. Yes. No, I would expect it to be closer to like this, and then it doesn't ever kill. But
Mhm.
yep.
yeah, that is going to do it from us. Alex, are we gonna be restreaming Indianapolis regionals or anything like that for this tournament?
I didn't think about that. I did plan on streaming a local on Sunday.
Okay.
So yeah, I had to think about that though. Like, was there actually any point to streaming a local if regionals is going on? We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But
All right.
I did already promise to do it. So anyways, streaming that. But yeah, maybe we watch that, and then I'm also just gonna be doing some ladder streams. Of course, during the week.
Mm-hmm. I've got a doubleheader this weekend, so I'm not sure what my availability is going to look like. But yeah, hopefully, I'm definitely really excited to see Indianapolis. Definitely excited to watch Justin do very, very well at that tournament. And yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up from us. Chase, Justin, any shout outs or plugs?
Not really, no.
No, nothing.
Sounds good.
I'll do
all
my
right. Well, in that
shout-outs
case,
this weekend.
True. Good luck to
you got
the only person in the call competing at the tournament. So,
and I think we're gonna send you over to someone else who's competing. If I can find where Joe is, I thought Joe was streaming. Is he still streaming? He is. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna send you over to Joe. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. As per usual, if you missed any part of this, you can find it !YT in chat. You can see the full VOD tomorrow. Yeah. Until next time. We'll see you later.
peace out, peeps.
Yeah.